on the Iranian issue, there is no opposition, no coalition in Israel, and when it comes to not to the need to solve the conflict with the Palestinians, but to the way to do it, we have some differences, well, major differences between the government and between me and Netanyahu, and between Kadima as a party and the current coalition. But trying to address and to speak about the situation in the region, because there are different threats in the region, and Iran represents a threat of extreme Islamic state, and we have different groups. We have Hezbollah in Lebanon that represent the same ideology. We have Hamas in the Palestinian Authority that represent basically the same ideology. It is not connected to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. They use the conflict in order to gain more support from different radical elements, but let's assume, let's hope that we solve the conflict between Israel and the Palestinians. It doesn't going to change the Iranian ideology. This is an ideology that is not, well, it's not part of a conflict that Iran has with Israel or with other neighbors. It is this kind of ideology that tries to deprive us from our rights. And when I refer to us, it's not only Israelis, it's the entire free world and those who cannot share their own beliefs. So this is a mutual threat to Israel, plus different parts of the Arab world in the region, Gulf states, Egypt, other states, and the entire free world. So this is a new threat, and since they try to achieve a nuclear weapon, this is not only an Israeli concern, but the entire region, or the concern of the entire world. And since the problem of talking about timeline, it's not only the day of the bomb, but since we live in a neighborhood in which, whether you beat the bully or join him, most of these other states in the region are looking at, especially the United States of America and the entire free world, to see what they are going to do in order to stop Iran. And any impression or image or perception of weakness can be misunderstood by other states in the region, and this can lead to another track of appeasing Iran and not trying to stop it. So it is very important that the world works together in order to stop Iran. It is important to say now clearly that all the options are on the table, because the Iranians need to understand that the world, not only Israel, not only other parts of this region, cannot afford to undermine the Iranian threats, because it's there. But there are also new opportunities in the region. For the first time, as I said before, it is not any more Israel against the Palestinians, the Arab world against Israel. For many of Islamic and Arab states in this region, Israel is not the enemy anymore. Iran is the enemy. They are willing to work with Israel. But of course, they would like to see, like I want to see, an end to the conflict with the Palestinians. I didn't try to say that there is no conflict with the Palestinians, but the conflict with the Palestinians is not the cause for extremism. In a way, extremism is part of the challenges that we need to meet in order to end it. Now, a few words about my views about what does it mean to states with two peoples. And I represent the basic interests of Israel. Israel was established 61 years ago in order to give an answer to the national aspiration of the Jewish people. It gave refuge to Jews that came to Israel after the Holocaust in Europe. It gave refuge to refugees that needed to leave Arab states after the creation of the State of Israel. And this is the raison d'etre, the reason for the existence of the State of Israel. And Israel is also democracy. This is part of our values, and this is the only way we would like to see Israel. And we need to keep these values of Israel as a democracy and Jewish state living together and not in contradiction. Now, there is something which is very important to understand, that the world accepted the creation of Israel as part of an idea that was adopted by the United Nations in 1947 in order to end an ongoing conflict. And the idea was two-state solution. Israel, Jewish state, and an Arab state. The Arab world didn't accept this solution, and since then Israel is fighting for its existence. I said something which is clear here in Israel, but I know that there are those thinking that the creation of the state of Israel was the beginning of a conflict, and I just want to say that this is an ongoing conflict that was here between Mediterranean Sea and Jordan River, between Jews and Arab, in this small place, and the creation of the state of Israel, the idea was to end the conflict. Since I believe of our need to keep these two values of Israel together, and being a Jewish state, it's not just something which is vague for me, and the need to keep Israel as democracy is part of my values as well. So the basic thing is that we need a Jewish majority in Israel. And in order to give an answer to my national aspiration in Israel, there's a need for me to accept the idea of two states for two peoples. One Israel, homeland for the Jewish people, and the other is the future Palestinian state that gives an answer to the national aspiration of the Palestinians in a state of their own. The way I see it is that in order to keep Israel as a state, according to our values, we need to give up part of the land of Israel. And I don't go saying that justice law. No, it's not. Two states for two peoples means that each state gives an answer to the national aspiration of its people. The meaning is that the creation of a Palestinian state is the answer to the national aspiration of the Palestinians. It means end of conflict, and it means that it is an answer to all of the Palestinians, not only those who live in the territory, what some of them call the territories, the West Bank, Gaza Strip, but also refugees that are living as political cards, in a way, in refugee camps in different places, waiting for something which is not according to the vision of two states for two peoples, because Israel is not an option. And the creation of a state is their own national solution. And this is the basic and the only understanding how to translate the vision of two states for two people into a peace treaty. Because without it, it means that we are going to have an ongoing conflict, we are going to have refugees asking to come to Israel. This is something that we cannot afford. I mean, the idea of giving up part of the land, living together in peace, the meaning is that each state gives an answer to its own. Of course, in Israel is a democracy. Just to be clear, Israel is democracy. We have about 20% Palestinians. They are equal rights citizens. They don't need to live. They are equal rights citizens because Israel is a democracy, but their national aspiration gets an answer elsewhere. Living side by side in peace and security, this is also something which is not only a slogan, because nobody can afford another terror state in the region or another extreme Islamic state. And what we see in Gaza Strip, that this is a place which is being controlled by Hamas. This cannot be the beginning of the future state, because we cannot afford a state that becomes a base against, for missiles against Israel or for the Iranians to come. And you should know that the Iranians support Hamas with weapons and with money, as they do with Hezbollah in Lebanon.